Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to FQ League. As usual, I am Scott, Dangerous Dodo, as I am known around here, your host for the Div 2 race, and with me is the angelic tones of the best co-commentator that I have ever known. It's Phenexy, of course. Welcome, and thanks for
Hello, mate.
joining again.
Yeah, I mean, that's a dig at Simi if I've ever heard one. He's also a co-commentator and you know him, but I'll take it any day.
We do make a good
Um,
team, so I can't.
we
I've got to
do.
back. I've got to back us over them. As much as we love AJ and Simi, self-confidence goes a long way. Right, so Austria. It's the shortest track on the calendar. It's also one of the fastest with 3 DRS zones. We know who we expect now to be up front from the first couple of races. But what do you expect from this race as a spectacle? Do you expect a lot of overtaking, a lot of tyre wear? What would you guess is going to be the case today?
I think the key here is going to be track limit penalties. Obviously, it's Austria. We know people struggle with this track and the track limits here. So I think the key is going to be who's going to get the least track limit penalties. And yeah, I think that's going to decide the race today.
I think you're absolutely right. As a first man out on track is Big Boris in the Mercedes today, and closely followed by AJ in the AlphaTauri, and then everyone else is just peeling out. So this is a track that's so short you can do 4 runs if you want to, if you have the soft tyres to use. But obviously, then you jeopardise not having that fresh set to use in the race. So we might see a couple of drivers wanting to get a bit further up the grid with a fourth lap.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be a little bit of a risk, and what tires you choose also affects it, because you can go for the 2 mediums in the race, or just the one new soft if you do 0 runs. So it's only going to be interesting to see how these guys get on, as Big Boris then first to start a lap.
Yep, so we're now running on board with Big Boris as he's the first man to start a lap. So we'll follow him round for this relatively quick lap of the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. So we head up the long back straight, up the hill, uphill braking zone, really slow hairpin here. You want to roll the car through, uses all the curb down to first gear. So interesting from Big Boris, but he seems to negotiate it pretty cleanly, maybe going for a safe banker lap here. As he makes his way back down the hill. Tricky off-camber corner this one. Want to use all the curb like he does. Then flat out right into 2 fast left-handers. He uses the track on the inside well. Could he use more on the outside? But again, it's going for a safe banker, and then again, could he use more exit curb? But looks pretty clean so far from the Mercedes man. He's going to have a little bit of traffic to negotiate on the racing line, unfortunately. Not getting out the way very well, the Williams there. Around the final corner we go, and it's going to be the first time on the board for Big Boris, and it is a 106.9. And AJ has got a 5-place grid penalty for colliding with Swampmouth, who I guess is the Williams who impeded Big Boris.
And Swampmouth disqualified from the session as well.
Disqualified?
Yes. And I believe you may have read that. Oh no, they both got grid penalty, so both of them now with a 5-place grid penalty. Unfortunately, not much we can do about that.
It won't matter too much for Swampmouth because he'll be dead last anyway, but that is annoying for AJ, who didn't set a lap anyway. And we have Skip currently taking provisional pole with a 104.6. That happened while we were taken with the DSQ that happened. So good lap from Skip.
Yeah.
Who have we got on the lap right now? We've got championship leader Lance. He's been on. Him and Skip have been the only 2 people to have podiums in every single race. As Golf goes P2 with a good lap, so we can follow the championship leader around as he chases yet another podium. Winner, of course, in the first 2 races of this season.
Yeah, so right behind him, Nick Fuhrman on the lap as well. He's gone purple in the middle sector.
Ooh. Yeah, Nick to the line.
Yeah, that's the other. second fastest.
Nice. Although Skip setting the pace early on, and we do expect the likes of Nick to be up there, which he is, but Skip clearly suiting this circuit and this layout, which is good to see for him as he continues his title charge. We're back on now with Lance. See what his sector time's like. He's purple middle sector according to the minimap, which we know can lie from time to time, but it's as good an indication as any because we don't have a delta because he hasn't set a lap time yet. So what we do know is this is going to be up there somewhere in the top 5, I would say at the very least for Lance.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect Lance to go P5 at the very least, and he is gone 4th fastest, and the two McLarens 4th and 5th assistants.
Absolutely, a safe lap there possibly for Lance. Trying to get a banker lap in, and just to make sure he has a lap, and he will have time for at least 2 more laps then. As we have Rob currently on a lap in the Red Bull. He did a 1:14.6, which I would hazard a guess is the fact he backs off that lap, so this might be a second push on these tyres. In fact, no, it isn't, because it says 0 laps on the board. So he's pitted for a new set of tyres and come back out. He's 8 seconds up on his previous time, but he's invalidated, so that's a shame for Rob. And we've got AJ behind him now, with that carrying that unfortunate penalty from the contact with Swampmouth, which is what led the Williams driver to be disqualified from the session. Not quite sure why the game disqualified him. Usually it's just a grid penalty, but unlucky for both. And AJ comes around the final corner, hoping to make up for lost time, and he goes P6 just behind the 2 McLarens, so a decent lap for him.
Yeah, I mean, AJ obviously now with that 5th place grid penalty, it'll be difficult for him to do too much here. He would want to get into the top 5 to then start also in the top 10. It'll be interesting to see whether he can manage that, as Simi has woken up.
Has Simi decided to maybe join us? He's still got 10 minutes to get into the session and start a lap, as we are currently following Cody, AJ's teammate, who's on his 2nd lap of the session. Currently sitting P7. I'll tell you what, Cody's been silently, I think, improving over the races. He's not got the most amount of luck, and he's gambled on a few strategies that maybe haven't come out, but certainly in terms of pace, he's been getting better and better, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, I think both Cody and Rob actually have been getting quicker as the season has gone on, and from season 1 as well, so I think it's really good to see the pair fighting for higher positions as Cody onto the front row. Wow.
Just as we were talking about improvement, he makes a big improvement in his lap time, and he goes P2 by just over a 1/10 of a second. That's a brilliant lap from Cody in the AlphaTauri, and just is it him putting together a good lap, or is that just how much the track is evolving now with the rubber being laid down? We'll only find out when a couple more people decide to do a second lap. Who else do we have on our lap? We currently have Anj Hamid in the McLaren, coming around the final few corners now. Currently sitting P6 just behind his teammate. Where can he put himself? Uses all the track on the exit, right out to the white line, and he improves, but it's not enough to improve his position, so he stays P6 for now.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just sorting out Tom joining.
No worries.
Distracted for a bit.
No worries. So we've got Nick Purple in the 1st sector, so this is the pace that kind of untapped potential for Nick Furyman over this season, and it's been really annoying to see the bad luck that he's got. He's got the pace to really be challenging up there with Lance, but the first 3 rounds have been a bit of a nightmare for the Alpine man, and to be honest, the Alpine squad in general. But he's on a good lap right now, and he's a 10th, just under 2/10 up, so this can put him right on the bubble of being on pole position now. As he comes around the penultimate corner, tries not to invalidate, goes right out to the white line, Leaves a little bit in hand of the final corner, and is it going to be provisional pole? It is, with a 104.3, a brilliant lap for Nick Furyman. What has Skip got in his back pocket to retaliate? He's half a tenth down on his current lap time through the first sector. What can he post through the second timing beam? He's half a second up, half a tenth up, but it's not enough to retake that P1.
Lance coming around the final corner now on his latest attempt, and he goes onto the front row. Can Skip now get it back? Yes, he does. And this is very close.
It is indeed. I mean, this is a track, because it is so short and there's so few corners, you do tend to get really small gaps between the drivers in terms of time, and it's happening again here with the drivers in the top 5 split by only 6/10, and then fifth down to 7th split by only 1.5 tenths. So it's really close out there. Obviously we've only got 15 drivers now, as we've had a couple of people join midway through qualifying, which is good to see. With 15 drivers is a little bit better than 12.
Yep, and now we have everyone that also signed up, so
that's perfect then. As Golf in the Haas rounds the penultimate corner, currently sitting P5, and he uses all the track right on the white line, almost invalidating, but he goes up to P3. A great showing from Lance. Another really good lap, and he looks to be in that fight.
Great showing from Golf, you mean?
Sorry, Golf. Yeah, my bad. There's bound to be a slip up in there eventually.
Yeah.
Who else have we got on a lap? AJ's come back out for another go. He's currently coming round the second sector. See what he can do in 7th. You'd expect a little bit more from AJ. He has been right up there, and he's very slightly up on his previous best time by 8 milliseconds, in fact.
Yep, he might have time in these final 2 corners, though. He looked a little wobbly on his previous lap coming through here, if I do remember correctly, as he now puts the foot to the floor, up to the line, and 3/10 improvement, but stays in 6th.
He slots himself just behind his teammate. The two AlphaTauris now in 5th and 6th respectively, and that's a good showing from them too. As the top 4 are now in the pits, ready for their final runs. We have Cody on a lap. The two AlphaTauris sure do love going for a synchronised quali run by the looks of it, and they're both going to do 4 laps, I think, because this is definitely Cody's 3rd flyer of this session. Looks like a nice final sector for him, and he comes across the line and he improves again, but it isn't enough. He just misses out on Pippin Lance for P4 there. So another good lap from Cody, and he solidifies his P5 for now.
As our rookie Tom King, purple in the first sector.
Purple for Tom King. Okay, so a new driver for this week, possibly. I think he's a reserve, right? And
he's an Aston Martin main driver.
Aston Martin main driver.
Yes.
But a driver we haven't really seen over the season very much, and let's see if he can burst onto the scene now with a good lap. He's a little bit wide through there, and he gets a swapper on the exit. That's not going to be ideal for him. So he comes around
not
the
at
fight.
all, and also interestingly, Kaz is still not done a lap.
Yeah, interesting. Has he got a quali ban? I'm not sure. As Tom King goes 8th with a 105.5. So
as Simi prepares to start his first flying lap, I believe.
Yeah, so Simi should have time for another one after this if he gets this one done first time. If he's really quick on his in-lap. Let's follow him on board for this one. So he got into the session late. So he might only have time for this one lap. A bit scruffy through the first corner, took a little bit too much curb and got a bit of a snap. Going through T1. See if he can make up for it. Up into turn 3. Hits the apex nicely and gets on the power well, so that looked good.
It's very nice indeed. 3.3.
We don't know where this is going to put him, as we won't have a delta, and we can't. I'm not memorising all the sector times.
I am. He's about 2 tenths down in the first sector.
Oh, well, there we go. Having you,
This is what I'm here for.
having you
for
here just
the
gets better and better every week. So
numerical analysis.
exactly, as he comes into the final sector, there's going to be a Aston Martin on the right hand side. He gets out of the way well. Hits the apex, lovely. This has been a really tidy lap from Simi, and this is going to put him hopefully into the top 10. Hopefully for him, and it does. He goes P8. He takes Tom King's position. Is he going to have enough time for another run? It's going to be close.
Yeah, so Kaz has had a nightmare here. He's invalidated his lap already before turn 1, so he must have done it in the final corner. But he looks to be still pushing, so I don't know if he knows that this lap has been invalidated yet.
He's not using his ERS. His ERS
true,
is
yes.
still on a 100, so he's definitely backed off. It's unfortunate for him, because he's another driver that is kind of untapped potential in this league so far, with a lot of pace, but just a bit of bad luck and everything not going his way. So we have first of the top 7 out for their final runs. It is Lance and Golf, and Lance is about to start his final flying lap here. Championship leader, can he go for pole? He needs to find about 2.5 tenths, well 3 tenths really, as he goes into T1, and this is going to have to be the best lap he can manage, as the rest of the top 7 now join him out on track. Cody will go for that 4th lap and use all of his tyres up, and he's, as AJ gets another penalty for collision with Skip. I'm not sure what's happened there, but that's 10 places. He's going to be at the back of the grid now, AJ, if he stays in 6th. That's really unfortunate, and I feel like there's going to be some investigation done into impeding in qualifying as AJ retires from the session on track.
Yeah, that's very, very odd to have 2 of those in one session. I don't know what's happened, but AJ now has a lot to do in the race.
He does. He might want to split the strategy there in that case, but Lance is up
in sector 2 as sorry, I cut into you there, but Kaz is in sector 2 on his lap.
As Lance does jump Golf then into P3, but what do the likes of Kaz have to respond? He comes around the final corner now. We're on board with the Aston Martin man, and he goes P7, so his only valid lap is good enough for P7, just behind AJ. We also have Golf, who's backed off, maybe invalidated. Maybe another little bit holding up his teammate, which is unfortunate, as Kaz retires as well.
Yep.
Who we got on the laps? We've got Skip on a lap. We've got, I think Nick thinks he's done enough. He's not coming out. He will not set another lap time. But Skip is up. This could be pole position right now for the Williams.
Yeah, and Skip hunting that first win. He's been very, very close the first 2 rounds. First 3 rounds even, and always on the podium, never on the top step here, so Skip definitely driving with a little bit of anger here to find that few tenths of a second to go pole position. If he gets it through sector 2, he's a little bit down on his time, and he's fighting now everything in the final 2 corners as he goes into turn 9, the quick right-hander, and into the final. He's invalidated. Oh,
that's a shame.
Dear. This time would have been a 1. It wouldn't have been enough for the pole either way, as Golf is up as well on his time, now in the final corner.
He's about 10th up, and this will be enough to put him possibly 2nd place on the grid. He goes 3rd, just ahead of Lance. So the championship leader will start on the 2nd row in 4th. And the last man to cross the line will be his teammate, and Shamid, who goes off the track and invalidates at the last. So that will be it for qualifying. Quite a lot happened there. A lot of good laps, but also a lot of penalties, which is not some like to see. We don't like to see people being impeded and not only ruining laps, but also getting grid penalties. So I'm sure AJ and Swampmouth will be a little bit gutted with that, but you know, anything's possible, especially around here. The DRS being so powerful, track position isn't that important. So there's every chance that they could make up positions in the race, especially if there is rain.
Yes, absolutely, and with the amount of rain that we've had over the season so far, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we do get some. Just running through the grid, Nick Fuhrman takes a pole position here in Austria. It's Skip in second place, Golf Maniac starts in third. Then it's Lance, Cody and AJ who will be taking that 10th place grid penalty. Definite Kaz in 7th, Anshamit 8th, Simi in 9th and Tom King rounds out our top 10. Quad and Rob, Crane, Big Boys and Swampmouth then 11th to 15th.
That is right. So, like, as you can see on screen, AJ with those 2 5-place grid penalties, so he will start from the back of the grid for the race, which is a shame, but a good result for Nick, who's put it on pole yet again. I think that's the second time this season, so
yes,
a really good showing from him, and hopefully this time he can make a good fist of it in the race, because so far he's not got too lucky.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I would not want Skip starting next to me, because we know how aggressive he can be and how quick Skip is, so Nick will need to be careful and will need a good launch into turn 1.
Absolutely. We've got some support in the chat for Nick, Skip and Quad End, so thanks everyone for supporting your favourite driver. Obviously we are completely unbiased in the commentary booth, so we will not be rooting for anyone. We root for everyone here. We just want everyone to do as well as they can, and more importantly, give us an interesting race to commentate over. So thanks for joining us. And we just wait now for the grid to form and the lights to go out to get us underway. Obviously, the Alpine of Nick starting on pole position for the second time this season. Championship leader Lance Fenton starting in P4 with Skip, who is P2 in the championship, starting just ahead of him. So Lance will not want to lose too many points today, for sure, but Skip will also see this as an opportunity to gain points as we do go to 5 red lights now. And we've got to wait for the game to catch up on itself, and we have the lights are out and away we go, and it is the Alpine who gets a good start, Nick Fuhrman, and Skip looks at the inside, thinks better of it, and Golf and Lance getting really close. Everyone kind of single file through the first corner. Now we're going to get the Slipstream Fest going up towards turn 3. Who's going to go for a move? Looks like Lance is looking down the inside of... Oh, there's contact there between Lance and Kaz, and McLaren's forced out wide in the background. There's a lot happening, but the top 4 stay as they were on the grid, with Skip behind Nick and Golf ahead of Lance, and Kaz making up places up into 5th already. And we'll get the tyres up for you as we've got the top 4 on mediums, Kaz on softs, Cody on hards, which is an interesting choice for a very 35% race. And we've got Simi, Ange and Tom on mediums, Quad End on softs, Rob on mediums, Big Boris on softs, Swampmouth on mediums, AG on mediums and Cray on hards.
Yeah, I'm just sorting out Cody, who did get disconnected, and that might be the reason for his hard tire choice. Nick, absolutely perfect getaway, and now already a second up the road from Skip, who now needs, I was gonna say needs to defend from Golf, but absolutely bolted away from turn 1, as Kaz maybe looking for a move on Lance into that turn 3, but thinks better of it.
Yeah, Kaz on the soft tyres looking for a fast start. He wants to make up places before putting on the prime tyres for the final stint. The medium, soft medium being the ideal strategy around here, depending on when you want your faster stint to be. And Kaz thought maybe he could capitalise on the faster tyres being at the start, so he's going to want to get past Lance ASAP and set after the top 3, as he's all over the back now, the McLaren, so we're on board with him. Is he going to get this move done? He's got a really good exit. He has a little snap and has to back out of it. And
he's around in turn 1 or sector 2. Sorry.
Rob is around, so that's a shame for him. Down to the back of the field as we stay with top 5, who have broken away hugely from Cody behind, and it's 3 seconds already. And speaking of breaking away, Nick Furyman is right on the edge of breaking Skip out of his DRS, but Skip's coming back into that every time, and he's got the DRS.
Yes, and Skip must be running a low downforce here, as Lance may be going for the move on Golf. Thinks better of it. Kaz around the outside now on those soft compound tires will get better traction out of turn 3, but Lance just out-dragging him for now. But look at Skip's straight line speed. He has to be running a very low downforce setup.
It is a good idea around here. There's so many straights, you just got to keep with him in the corners, and he's only 3/10 behind now. Golf has fallen outside of that second quite briefly. Let's see if he can bring that back in. He can for now. It's very important for him that he keeps that DRS to the cars in front so he doesn't get pressured by Lance behind. And Skip is now all over the back of Nick, and he's surely going to be looking for a move in the next one of the next 3 DRS zones with that straight line speed.
Absolutely, and we do have a McLaren without a front wing, and Jamid losing a front wing somewhere in that lap, now pitting for a new one. And Skip now getting a great run out of turn 1.
Golf has spun out of turn 1. He got onto the curb, the sausage curb on the outside, and he has spun, and he's only now just got going, but he's going to be right down at the back of the field behind AJ out the top 10. That is a massive shame for Golf, because he had a really good start to this race. And now we have Kaz all over the back of Lance. Lance does not have the DRS, and Kaz looks like he's going to go for the move down the inside. Lance tries to hang it around the outside, and they're still wheel to wheel. The Aston Martin and the McLaren. Is Lance gonna fight it? He's not. He recognises that Kaz has the pace advantage right now on the softer compound, and is letting it go as we have another off, and it's quad end. So the two Red Bulls having
for the second time this race, or this lap even, this round.
Yeah. So. Awful start for the Red Bulls. They're down into 13th and 14th, and Kaz getting that move done on Lance, is now sitting after Skip, who still hasn't got past Nick. Nick doing a good job of controlling that gap out in front. I mean, Skip has 100% of his ERS remaining, so he really does not have to worry about that. Well, they both have a lot to attack and defend with, so it's quite interesting. They're both conserving for now.
Yeah, I mean, they are just pulling away, working together here to pull away from the rest of the field. Nick needing the result as Tom gets past Simi into turn 3, up into P5.
Cody is looking at the move on Simi, neither of them opening the DRS, as Quaddin gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Presumably that's to get off those knackered tyres from when he spun, and that is a good move by Cody on those hards. But now Simi's going to try and come back at him. He's got the switchback move. Can he hang it round the outside? It's going to be a brilliant move if he can pull this off. He's still there, is Simi, in the Mercedes, and he's gonna. Oh, and there's a tap. I'm not sure if that was a little bit of lag, because
must have been netcode. Because
Cody's car seemed to jump across the track there on my screen.
Yeah, same.
But that must have been a little bit of lag. That's so unfortunate for Simi, because that'd have been a beautiful move. Still no safety cars for now. We've had 6 laps of green flag action, which is nice.
Yeah, no virtual or full safety cars in the first laps.
As
always, very, very nice.
As this bit of team play from the Alpha Tower is AJ being allowed to pass already up into 6th place after starting dead last with that penalty. AJ doing a really good recovery drive, and in 6 laps is into 6th place, so really good stuff from the Div 1 commentator. He's a great commentator, but he isn't a bad driver, to be fair to him, and he's now going to set after Tom King for that place in the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely, and as we do get our first track limit warning now for Simi, or track limit penalty.
Yeah, that was while going wheel to wheel with Crayon. We just caught the back end of that on stream. Simi looking racy today. That really unfortunate contact with Cody taking him out of that battle for the top 5.
Yeah, and Skip's now got a really good run out of turn 1. He's not using his battery at all, so he might not go for the move here into turn 3. Oh, he's very, very close to the back of Nick there. I must say, I kinda did get scared as Lance gets back up.
He thought about it.
Back past Kaz. I cannot speak today.
He has indeed, as the front two remain line astern, but Kaz is looking to retake third place for now. Those softs may be going off slightly for the Aston Martin man. He doesn't quite get the move done, and now AJ already up into P5.
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant race so far from him. As we look at the penalties, we've got Simi on 3 and Quad End on 5. So people keeping it clean in the track limits for now, but this track is quite harsh at the moment. You will imagine there's going to be more racked up by the end of lap 25. We can also look at the position change as Tom King, as I say that, gets the 3-second time penalty, so we're going to see him starting to come in now. We've got a move for 10th as Crayon's down the inside of Simi, so this battle continuing between the two. And as you can see on screen, AJ has made up 9 places from the start, from P14 to P5 in 8 laps around here. Is not easy feat, and I tell you what, Rob has just done both Crayon and Simi down the middle there. That was an incredible move. He got the run on both of them, and he's back up into P10 after his earlier spin. That was lovely from him. Is he going to be under pressure again though? He's lost the DRS and Simi's looking to come back at him. This is for the final points paying position. They're almost 3 wide here. The Red Bull, the Mercedes and the Haas. As Simi and Crayon still side by side. Now it's Crayon that might be looking to have a run at Rob. He's not quite close enough, but he does keep the position to Simi. So Rob brilliantly taken. Oh, and Crayon spun. As I say that, Crayon spins on the exit of turn 4, and that is a shame for him. He was looking to be right in there. And now Golf picks up a 3-second penalty and spins again. So both Haas drivers spinning. Who else is that in the background that spun? Is that Quad?
Yeah. Quad, and yes, has had a spin. Crucially now, Lance breaking the 1 second to Kaz, so I think those soft tires now really starting to struggle compared to the mediums, and Gibbs still not spending any ERS down this back straight, even though he could go for the move. He's not.
I think Skip is just biding his time, maybe going for a mind punt strategy of only overtaking when Nick makes a mistake, which we know is rare. Nick's a really class act and can hit lap after lap after lap with no mistakes. And like you said, yeah, those softs going off now for Kaz as well means that he's dropped off that battle for the podium. We know this track is quite tough on the rear tyres, especially with the low speed traction zone, so possibly he'll be coming in shortly. He doesn't on this occasion. Oh, he does on this occasion. He just maximises his speed into the pit lane by not fully using the white line. And we have our first pitter from the lead pack, and it is Kaz. Let's stay on board with him to see what tyres he elects to go on. Can mediums do 15 laps? He thinks so. He's going on to the medium compound.
Mediums can do 15 laps. Not to brag, but I have done 19 laps on the softs around here in a race a few months back. So mediums can definitely do 15. As Skip now very close into turn 3, and he is going to go for the move for the first time in this race. Skip is challenging Nick for the lead, going side by side through turn 4 into turn 5. This is incredible stuff, and Nick retains the lead for now. But Skip might be looking for the switchback, not on this occasion.
Skip looking dangerous right now. He's just holding on really well to the back of Nick. But Nick using his higher downforce, we think, to his great effect to keep the lead. But Lance has brought that gap down now. Only 1.2 seconds, showing really great pace at the end of the stint, maybe having looked after his tyres in the DRS, and he's now within that 1 second range of the leaders. So Lance is back in this fight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this is exactly what Skip wanted to avoid, and that's why he's now attacking, because he knows that Lance is right behind him. And look at this, he's now had the run into turn 3 down the inside of Nick. It goes very, very deep, and Nick goes off the track as well, and now Lance might just say thank you very much and take the places.
They both go wide as Skip misjudged his braking, I think, and pushed them both out wide as Nick maybe looks to have a go, and there's contact, and here comes Lance down the inside taking advantage of that, and he takes Skip, and P2, the championship leader, overtakes P2 in the championship on track, and Lance's pace has paid dividends here as he gains a position, and now he's going to set after Nick. Can Lance lead this Grand Prix before the pit stops are made?
Yeah, absolutely, and not to forget that if these guys start battling really hard, that also brings AJ into the mix, and that helps Kaz undercut them massively. So everything's still up for grabs in this race, and definitely these front three now battling for absolutely everything.
They are leaving nothing on the table, and are we going to see maybe Lance go for the lead? He's got a lot of straight line speed. As we go on board with him, he's used a fair amount of his ERS, but he is looking to go for the move here. He's going to look to the outside and then maybe get the cutback, but Nick gets a really good exit there. So I don't think Lance is going to have much of an opportunity, but he's using a lot of battery, and look at the overspeed he has in the slipstream with the DRS, and he's going to go down the inside. And it's a lovely move, but Nick thinks he can hang it round the outside, and they're still wheel to wheel. And Nick's now going to have the inside line for this long left-hander. Lance is going to stick it out round the outside like Simi did. Let's hope they keep it clean this time. And Lance around the outside again. This is lovely racing from both of them, giving each other plenty of room. And Lance gets the move done. A beautiful move from your championship leader, and he takes P1. For the first time in this race.
Yeah, but now Nick looking to get back. Look at the speed he has over Lance into turn 1. They're gonna go for it once again. Lance breaks early to get that switch back onto them, but look at Skip now. Lance gets past. Can't quite hold it, and Skip, the only one of the three with DRS now down this main straight. As Skip might go for the move on Lance as well. He's going for it.
He does, and it's down the inside. It's wheel to wheel from the two of them, and now Nick might get involved. We're going to look from Nick's POV, because that's probably the best place to watch right now, as Lance doesn't have the DRS, and you can see how much that affects him going down into turn 4. As all this contact, as Lance maybe chops across the front of the Alpine slightly there, but luckily no damage done to either car or anyone's race, and they slot back in line astern with Skip now leading and Lance second and Nick third. These three providing us with great entertainment for the lead of this race, which is what we love to see, as Simi gets past Rob for 8th place as well, a bit further down the pack.
So crucially, AJ on the start of lap 11, 7.5 seconds behind these guys, and now only 5 seconds behind, so he's catching rapidly when they are fighting each other.
Tell you what, AJ has the bit between his teeth today. He really is pushing on, and starting from P14 to P4 and chasing the lead pack is just incredible effort. So absolute massively impressed at his progress throughout this race. And if the leaders carry on as they are, fighting so hard, it's not going to be long before AJ is knocking on the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And if AJ goes for a 1 or 2 lap undercut on these guys, I think he might even have them on track, so you never know. As here, still we go. Skip in first, Lance in second, Nick in third.
I'm still staying on board with this lead 3 pack, as it is so enthralling, this battle for the lead. These three so closely matched in terms of pace and giving each other room, as it looks like Skip and Lance are going to box. And Nick stays out, so Nick's splitting the strategy from the other two, and Lance is going to follow Skip into the garage. What's AJ going to do? AJ also pits. AJ's also boxing.
Yeah, and now we look where Kaz comes out. He spent a lot of his ERS on these outlaps, and he will take the provisional lead here quite comfortably, actually. But now it's all about whether Skip and Lance can change him down. He's
had the fresher tyres, and he's used the undercut to his advantage, and he has now got a rather big lead provisionally. Obviously Nick's still to pit, as Lance and Skip on the exit of the pit lane. It looks like Skip maybe made a little mistake, and Lance has overtaken him already, so this is for provisional second right now, I believe, because they'll probably undercut Nick on these fresh soft tyres. So Lance capitalising on a rare Skip mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Skip needs to stay in the DRS. It looks like he's struggling on these new tyres, maybe struggling to heat them up on that lower downforce setup. And Nick now pits from the lead.
He does indeed, as we have a battle for 6th. Swampmouth getting past Rob, and Swampmouth, another person who's made up a lot of places since the start of the race. Started on those hards and has gone the distance. seems to be working out for him right now. As we cut to Nick having boxed onto the softs, and Kaz takes the lead of the race. So has Kaz got enough pace over 9 laps to hold off the soft runners behind him? Is the
I'll
question.
tell you what, if the three keep battling like they have been, maybe, just maybe, you can't count anything out. And very, very impressive again. AJ only 3.2 behind now, the leading pack, and he's now made a pit stop, so P5.
Yeah, incredible from AJ so far, like you said. P5 after pitting, and Swampmouth as well started down in last after that disqualification in quali. I think he's yet to pit, but he's still lapping in P6, which is great. If there's a safety car, he will be laughing, especially because there's people behind, which will serve 5-second time penalties if that is to occur as well.
Yeah,
as we follow this trio.
I'll keep a close eye on Kaz versus Lance lap times here, especially on this lap now.
The gap is coming down, definitely. It's about a second on this particular lap. Maybe 7/10 or so, as Skip sets the fastest lap in the DRS of Lance.
So Kaz lapping in the low 108, Lance with a 107.1, and Skip obviously in those 106s, as he's now going to go for the move up into turn 3. The two head side by side once again, and Skip has gone wide here.
Skip's gone wide, and that's going to invite Nick Furyman to force the issue and go down the inside of Skip, and he's not going to get any DRS. So Skip has lost 2 positions in one corner, unlucky for him, and now Lance takes the lead of this battle. But they really need to work together now if they're going to catch Kaz, because they've just lost a couple tenths despite having that DRS advantage.
If they're going to catch Kaz, and if they're going to keep AJ out of this battle, 2.1 now the gap.
Absolutely. I think Kaz may have seen this coming with the battling and decided to go on that aggressive alternative strategy and able to give him clear air.
I thought Neil was going for a move in the turn 9. Got scared a little bit there.
I think
now he has a great run out of the final corner, and this should be a piece of cake even before the braking zone. He should be fully past an AJ 106.6.
That's a brilliant lap, and I think Nick now realises the urgency of the situation and that they need to really get a move on if they are going to pass. But he doesn't get a great exit out of turn 1, and Lance is going to re-pass him, and now Skip's going to look at the inside, and now Nick's going to try and defend his position, and they bang wheels slightly going through turn 3. It's really close.
Incredible racing.
But a good exit out of the corner means Lance keeps the position, but look at the overspeed with the ERS and the DRS for the Alpine, and he goes steaming back up the inside, a little bit wide. Lance looks for the switchback, but it's not on, and Skip is waiting behind. But again, they are just bleeding time, and AJ now only 1.4 behind.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to get DRS on lap 20 at this point already, and now they need to really think about it. And 6 seconds still the gap to Kaz. They haven't closed it nearly at all.
Yeah, those soft tyres are only going to be faster than those mediums for a certain period of laps. When we get to lap 23, 24, that advantage will fade, so they need to capitalise on it now. The gap is slowly coming down. It's now 5.8, but it really needs to come down faster. These three need to work together for now to catch up to Kaz.
Yeah, try telling them that when it's a second place on the line and the 2 championship leaders at the moment, 1 and 2 in the championship, as Lance going back down the inside.
Nick has nothing to defend with. His red light flashing. You can see there on board with Skip. We can see the red light of the Alpine flashing, meaning that the ERS is below 10%. Meanwhile, Skip has basically a full battery, and he's going to go for the move on Lance here, despite them both having DRS, and they're going to go slightly wheel to wheel, but it was a little bit of a half-hearted move, and they'll slot back in to how they were before. The gap now down to 5.3, but more crucially, the gap to AJ is 9/10 of a second. He will get DRS.
Absolutely incredible now, and AJ, who we know how quick he's been, we know how well he's driving at the moment. Can you imagine? He has a chance to win this race.
He is on fire, AJ, right now. After that less than optimal qualifying, he'll probably be ruining what could have been with the pace he's shown, but it's been an impressive drive, and he's now on the back of what was the lead pack before the pit stops, which is just incredible. And he has got that DRS, that rear wing slot open, So he has completed the charge in a way, and he will now try and make his way past these three who are battling again. Lance and Skip really close. Lance fallen a little bit back behind Nick, but he will get that back with the DRS down here. Nick doesn't feel the need to defend fresh air, and they slot in line astern again, and the gap is now down to 4 seconds to Kaz, so they are slowly bringing him in.
Yeah, they're bringing now that they're not battling, that Nick is just the leader of the pack, but again, like we said, lap 22, lap 23, those softs are gonna die out.
You've got to remember as well that Nick's tyres are 1 lap fresher than the 2 behind, so this is probably why he's gaining quite a lot of time in the middle and the final sectors. The extra 5% or so wear that those guys have got is hurting them now, but that is helping them as a result because they can DRS behind Nick, and Nick is closing on Kaz, so this is going to be a really close finish. The gap now 3.3. Unfortunately for AJ, they've pulled each other back out of his DRS range.
Yeah, and you know, if you cast like right now, you have to be sweating, you have to be very, very cautious how you drive. You cannot make any mistakes because that 3-second gap, it's gonna go down very, very soon.
You've got to remember a couple of these drivers might be on 1 or 2 track limits warnings, and it is 3 seconds for the track limits penalty. So any of these get a penalty, and it is over really in terms of any chance of winning this race.
Yeah, and you know, you have to take that into account because AJ's there as well, so if Kaz gets a penalty, it could drop him all the way down at P5 right now, so needs to be very, very careful.
The gap is now 2.5. Nick is really reeling him in, and but Nick is the first to get that 3-second penalty we were talking about. This has handed the race back to Lance and Skip, who can see that rear light of Nick flashing, but they can now also see plus 3 seconds on their timing screens, and thinking, all I've got to do is let Nick pull me up to the back of Kaz, and then if we can... Skip's
wow,
steaming down the outside. I was on board with Lance,
works.
and he came out of absolutely nowhere. Maybe Skip missing his braking zone, but it is going to enable him to have a bit of a run now down towards turn 4. He thinks better of it. AJ still slipping away. I think he used a lot of ERS in order to catch up initially, and is now feeling the effects of that.
And now Nick has to get a move on. I mean, he has to overtake Kaz and pull 3 seconds if he wants to win this race.
He does, but he is so close from pulling away out of the DRS of Lance, but Lance using a little bit of ERS there to pull himself back in.
Yeah, if Skip and Lance start battling, then, you know, I might even pick Nick for a chance still to win this race, but 3-second penalty is going to be a lot. And Kaz with a penalty as well, and at this point Lance Fenton is winning the Grand Prix.
Yes, definitely. Lance Fenton, absolutely our championship leader, is winning the Grand Prix. As we just had a look there quickly with the telemetry, Lance low on ERS. Have a look at everyone else's ERS. We've got Nick low on ERS, Kaz low on ERS, Skip with half his battery left. So in terms of the battery, the extra power that you get from deploying that overtake, Skip is in the ascendancy, and him versus Lance will decide who wins this Grand Prix, because the two in front of them now have time penalties because of track limits.
Yeah, and I'm just checking through the warnings now on how many each of them are on. Lance and Skip are both on 1 warning, AJ is on 2.
So AJ on 2, he's going to have to be careful. There's a couple of corners that you can just run wide on. As long as Lance stays within that DRS range, which he very almost didn't then he can keep Skip behind, but he's managed it again. He's doing well. He's just hanging on now, is Lance, and Skip's going to fancy himself for a move here as Lance goes defensive, and a little bit of lag on stream. Skip thinks better of going around the outside, and he cuts back in. He's going to get the DRS for a second time, and Lance does not have the DRS this time round. As for the lead, we've got Nick and Kaz wheel to wheel. Who's going to come out on top with that one? Oh!
Lance is over!
Kaz is round, Kaz is spun, and has Lance got damage? Lance gets
Has to
away
hit
without front wing
Lance.
damage, and the safety car
Skip
will
is
not be
winning the
out.
race.
And now Skip is winning. Yeah,
And
Nick's got
AJ's podium.
1 lap.
Nick needs to absolutely bolt it now. He has 1 lap to make up 3 seconds to Lance and 3 seconds to AJ, and Lance looks like he has damage. He just looks like he has damage. Look at how slow he is.
Yeah, AJ's going to go for the move. This is for P3 provisionally, depending on where that penalty puts Nick. But with the gap growing to Lance all the time, you know, it might be enough for Nick to actually be P2 by the end of this race. With Skip now looking like he is going to take his first win of the season, and for next season he's going to have to speak Italian in about 10 minutes time.
Him, mate. I'm in P2. It's fine.
As AJ has got that move done now on Lance, so he takes that place, and he is on the cusp, on the very, very cusp of being within that 3 seconds. So it's going to have to be a big, big sector for AJ if he wants to finish P2. Right now, he is just within.
He's very much doing it at the moment, and Nick needs to be very, very fast through this final few corners.
It's
and
fluctuating.
This is absolutely nail-bag in action here, as Nick is going to come across the line in P1. He's going to win on track, but he's going to be P2 or P3 at the end of it. And Skip takes his first victory of the season. Finally here in Austria, he gains points on Lance. AJ stays in third. Absolute mega drive from AJ. And Lance fourth. Kaz coming home in 5th place. What could have been for Kaz today, but only 5th for him. Swampmouth.
Did Swampmouth
Good
pit?
drive from him as well. Yes,
that's a good drive from Swampmouth to go from last to 6th. Kind of under the radar. We haven't really mentioned him at all. There's a couple of people getting penalties. Anjami jumps Tom King for 8th. Golf and Simi round off 10th and 11th. So Golf picks up that solitary point. And then we have Rob, Big Boris and Crayon. With Big Boris, he will be the last one across the line. But wow, that was close at the end. AJ missing out on P2 by only 2/10 after starting down in 14th place. What an incredible, incredible drive from him. And that is it. Probably the best race of the season, I would say.
Yeah.
Personally, what about you? What do you think of that race?
Absolutely non-stop action. The game's driver of the day is AJ, and I think
I agree.
Driver of the day is also going to be AJ, and absolutely incredible drive.
Although
AJ.
I think a very close second for driver of the day would have to be Swampmouth. He did an incredible job from his grid position, just like AJ. So both of them two really well done. But it is Skip who picks up maximum points and closes the gap at the top of the drivers' standings, with Lance finishing only 4th after contact on the penultimate lap. And I'll run you through the final order once we have watched the podium sequence. What a race from our top 3. And we have the final order. It is P1 for the first time this season, from second on the grid for Skip. And then it's poleman Nick with a good finish, and maybe his season starts now. And then rounding out the podium with the fastest lap also is AJ from all the way down in 14th. Then it's Lance, Kaz, Swampmouth, Cody, Anj Hamid, Tom King and Golf Maniac, who rounds out the top 10, with Simi, Rob, Big Boris, Crayon and Quad End the non-scorers for this round. But that was an incredible race, and we are going to hear for the first time very shortly this season the Italian national anthem. Give me a second just to get it up.
Yeah.
Right, as promised, here is the Italian national anthem. There we have it then, the Italian national anthem, heard throughout the world, usually for Ferrari, but today it plays for Skip, the Division 2 race winner, and we will very shortly get the top 3 for interviews. And possibly, and driver of the day, because we'll also have AJ up as well. So a great race from them 3, and we'll hear from them shortly. Are we going to join them down in general?
Yeah, we are going to join them. Do we want to swap it tonight? I'll do P3 and P1 to get Skip, and you'll do P2.
Cool, yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Right, so we are here with the top 3 now, and Finexi is going to interview your P3 man and driver of the day. AJ, take it away.
Yeah, AJ, obviously a little bit of frustration in qualifying from you, 2 grid penalties. Can you talk us through a little bit with what happened there? We couldn't quite catch either of those incidents.
The first one was with Swamp Mouth coming around the last 2 corners in the middle of them, and he was on the racing line to the left. I was just about to start a flying lap. Didn't have enough time to react, and the inevitable. Luckily, I was right next to the pit lane, so I managed to just get in and get back out again. And then the second one was, unfortunately, with Skip. We both came out the pit lane at the same time, and he was in front of me and just sort of stopped dead, like sort of in the pit lane line, if that makes sense. And there was a car on a lap coming through, so I literally, get into the back of him again. So nowhere to go. Yeah, and obviously in the race you had amazing pace. We were looking at you, we were looking at the gap from you to the top 3 before the pit stops. How much did you know that they were battling ahead, and how much were you pushing to get into the DRS there? So before the pit stops, I noticed that I was sort of, as soon as I got through all the traffic, I saw there was a massive, I think it was like 7 or 8 second gap. I realised that they were fighting, and they were fighting all the way through the race, which really helped me out because it sort of backed them up to me. Basically, I used quite a lot of ERS, which I didn't think I really needed to, but I did. And then I got initially into the DRS of Skip, and then came out of it slightly, and then there was an incident with Kaz, got spun around, which then gratefully put me back where I really should have been, because if I'd have started in qualifying P4, which I think is where I was top to be, I'd hate to imagine where I'd be right now. But hey, it's one of those. Podium's a podium. I'm happy, to be fair. I'm fastest lap and driver of the day, so yeah, I mean, I can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that what could have been today, but absolutely amazing pace from you in this race, and very well driven, and yeah. Congratulations on the podium and driver of the day.
Yeah, and GG's to the other 2 as well. They, all 3 of them, actually 4 of them, Cows as well, with the alternate strategy, put out an absolute performance, so well done to them as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay then, congrats AJ on P3 and driver of the day, and I will now have the pleasure of talking to your P2 man, Nick Fury man. You put it on pole with a brilliant lap, and you had the pace, and for much of the race it looked like it was kind of going your way until you got that penalty. Talk us through your race and how fun, number one, it was battling with Lance and Skip the whole way, but also just what happened when you did get that penalty.
Yeah, no, it was, I think, just starting off, I think it was very nerve-wracking having Skip at the back of you. Just up your back end and just applying that pressure. So just trying to maintain just some confidence in the car, as well as just trying to keep my head down and concentrate as much as I can. But I think coming like the 4 laps just before the pit section, it was just a fight with Skip and Lance. It was just very nerve-wracking. Trying not to crash into anyone or damage the car. So that was a bit of pressure I had, but I think leaving it a bit longer, so doing an extra lap compared to the other 2, I think helped me a little bit in the long run with the fresher tyres. I didn't lose much time. which was quite nice. But yeah, in the last few laps, it was just trying to keep my head down, trying to take advantage of the fight with Skip and Lance in front of me. Then I think on the last like lap 20, the last 5 laps, it was more like trying to keep my head down, keep ahead of Lance, and he was just dominating today as well as Skip. So both of them were just applying as much pressure as possible. But when I got the penalty, it was more like frustration in myself because I just didn't, anticipate getting all those warnings and then ending up with a penalty. So I really was just frustrated with myself more than anyone. But yeah, no, I did forget though. Kaz was first, so I thought I was in first, but no, Kaz was in the end. The last few laps, I'd remind myself about that. So overtaking Kaz was quite quick, I'd say, or it seemed to be, due to me having the fresher tyre and him being on the alternate strategy. But yeah, no, the little incident there was unfortunate, and it did lead to a bit of an unfortunate end for another driver. But it was just it's one of those situations where like some things could have probably been different, to come up with a better outcome, like me not going over the track and everything. But I think everyone did amazing job fighting and maintaining the speed they did and not losing the car. So I think I'm waffling at this point. But a very fun race with everyone. So yeah, P2 should have been P1, but did DNF on the first few tracks. I did DNF, so it was a long time waiting for the podium. End of. Bye guys.
Thank you for that very descriptive account of your race, and congratulations on your first podium. And I hope to see you up here many more times over the rest of the season. And now I believe Finexi is going to talk to the man of the hour.
Yeah, ottimo lavoro, Skip, grande. You finally.
Ottimo italiano. Ottimo italiano.
Thank you. You finally got your win. How does it feel in this moment?
First of all, I'm sorry for AJ qualifying lap. I don't see him, and I saw Kads in their lap. I'm so sorry, and I'm so sorry for happened to Kads and Lance. They didn't deserve it. But great battle, great win. I have to thank you some people, Simo first, Alessia, Davide, Rex, and all the guys in this championship. I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
Yeah, and you were battling all race long with Nick and Lance. Were you ever worried about making a mistake and coming together with one of them, or?
Oh yeah, it's a difficult race. I don't want overtake Lance and Nick too early. I have much airs than
Yeah.
Lance and Nick. I stay focused on my pace, on my race, and yeah, I'm very happy, guys.
Yeah, you finally got your win and some points back in the Drivers' Championship as well. Very, very good race from you. Well done, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you, my friend.
Nice one. Well, congrats, Skip, and congrats to all of our top three and our driver of the day. It was the best race of the season, I believe, and I think Finexi, you think the same.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll have to do something special to top that in Div 2 or Div 1, sorry.
Well,
that starts in 45 minutes.
It does indeed. So if you're a fan of FQ, you're in luck because there's even more of it. The aliens, the likes of Joe, and even the big man Finexi, the GOAT, will be driving putting our money where our mouths are. We're not just a pretty face and a good voice. We also do race. So if you want to see that, tune in to AJ and Simi with Division 1 in about 45 minutes time. But for us, it's time to bid you farewell. Like I said, an incredible race, not just for the actual race itself, but for the championship. Throws everything wide open and just makes this season even more exciting than it already was. So thanks once again, as always, to Finexi for joining me. You are a massive help, and without you, I think I would fail miserably as a commentator, so thank you.
I wouldn't even get it going.
And thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you next week.